Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is iGoRawr, and I'm drunk. Also, welcome to Let's Not Auraxium. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, Rawr, but buddy, what's going on? What you drinking for? And the answer to that is simple. You'd be pretty plastered too if you had to make a video on the Phaseshift. Anyways, before I begin, there is one thing I want to mention, and that is this video is sort of an apology. A lot of people don't know this, but I was actually part of the development team in charge of making the original prototype for the Phaseshift. I take a huge part of the responsibility being involved in this crappy excuse for a sniper rifle ending up in the hands of so many VS soldiers. And for that, I am truly sorry. Now with all that out of the way, let's look at the stats, but first, let's take a look at the original prototype I helped build of the Phaseshift. I think I still have it sitting somewhere in my garage.
Alright, so here it is, the first ever prototype made for the Phaseshift. Now, I know what you're thinking, Rawr, this looks like it's just a big old pile of junk, and, well, you'd be correct. But keep in mind, this is just a prototype, this isn't actually meant for use in combat. We were simply trying to prove if it was possible to make a weapon with infinite ammo. So I'm just going to turn this weapon on here to show you guys what it's all about. Oh, Christ, she's heavy. Alright, okay. And we're just going to turn it on. There we go. The boot time's a little slow, obviously. The prototype one's on fucking Vista. Alright, so let's see here. System fan has failed. Service, okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're just going to skip through that and just launch it anyways. Alright, let's see here. Oh, did not like that. Hold on, technical issues here. That should have worked. There we go. Okay, that's all normal. Alright, okay, it's loading. Alright, so I'm not actually going to fire the weapon. That would be a terrible idea, especially inside. I'm just going to discharge the weapon to give the proof of concept a weapon with infinite ammunition could be made. Alright, here we go. Firing in 3, 2, 1...
Alright, so the regular format that I use to look at weapons isn't really going to work here too well due to the fact that a lot of statistics, information that I usually go over for weapons really doesn't apply to the Phaseshift. Also, on top of that, numbers are hard and I'm drunk, so we're just going to look at the important things that you need to know. So for the few of you that don't already know, the Phaseshift is a charge-up weapon, sort of like the Lancer, just in sniper form. But unlike the Lancer, it uses a heat mechanic as ammunition. This means it has unlimited ammo, but at the same time it also has a significantly reduced magazine size. It also has no bullet drop, but we'll talk more about that later. Alright, so enough about the utility. I just hit my microphone, sorry. So enough about the utility of the weapon, let's move on and look at its damage. The Phaseshift has 2 levels of charge, the first of which hits for 400 damage up to 8 meters, dropping off to 260 damage at 200 meters. This also takes up about 20% of the heat bar. The second level of which hits for 550 damage up to 10 meters, dropping off to 445 damage at 200 meters. This also takes up about 90% of the heat bar. It's also worth mentioning that the second level of charge is a lot faster than most people think. The animation around the dot on your scope is worthless and doesn't actually sync up with any levels of the charge. The actual moment the full charge is met is determined by a change in the sound of the weapon's charging, although I've found that to be a little bit hit and miss because the precise moment that it actually reaches its charge still is not perfectly synced with the charging sound. Also, I would like to mention that I'm not feeling so good and I think I'm gonna be sick. Hold on a moment. Okay, so drinking and recording, bad idea. Let's not do that again. Also, somebody at Daybreak owes me a new rug. Anyways, it also has a velocity of 550 meters a second, takes 2 fully charged or 6 uncharged shots before overheating, and although I feel like reload speeds are kind of irrelevant on a sniper rifle, it does take 3 seconds short and 4 seconds long to reload, which is slightly faster than most bolt actions, but it's still slower than all the semi-auto snipers. When it comes to attachments on this gun, I highly recommend using the dark light so it's much more easy to spot you in the distance and someone will snipe you and put you out of your misery just that much quicker. So that brings us to our final question. Is this gun worth your time? And the answer is obviously no. The Phaseshift is not worth your time. In fact, I would go as far to say the entire concept of trying to innovate on a sniper rifle is about as practical as trying to reinvent the wheel by duct taping dildos to it. Although sniping itself is very difficult and takes a lot of time and practice to get good at, the application of a sniper rifle itself is pretty simplistic. You just shoot the planet man in the head. There's not much more to it than that. Recoil, fire rate, and a lot of other stats almost don't matter on these weapons, and any changes you make to these weapons end in one of 3 ways. A, it's either better at shooting the planet mans in the head. B, it doesn't make a difference and it's just as good as it was before at shooting the planet mans in the head. Or C, it's worse at shooting the planet mans in the head. Of course, there's little things you can talk about sniper rifles that don't directly lead to one of these 3 conclusions, but about 90% of things you could possibly say about snipers boils down to one question. How good is it at shooting the planet mans in the head? And when it comes to the Phaseshift, the answer is not very good. To make sure I'm not stupid, although I probably am, I went on Reddit and made a post about this gun asking for people's opinions and advice on it. Now, I will admit, after reading a lot of the comments and taking a lot of the advice I got to heart, I did do a reasonable bit better with the weapon, but it still wasn't as good as I would have done with other bolt-action snipers. Much like dating a high-maintenance girl, I feel like I'm putting a lot into the relation I have with the Phaseshift and not getting a whole lot out of it. This is why I prefer hookers and blow. When it comes to using this gun, all I can think to myself is one of 2 things. Any other bolt action would have been doing just as well, if not better in this situation, or I'm failing because this gun is trash. So why exactly is this gun so bad? And it all leads down to 3 issues. The bolt action aspects of this gun are really bad. The semi-auto aspects of this gun are pretty bad, not as bad as the bolt action, but still pretty bad. And the actual advantages this gun has over other sniper rifles with its infinite ammunition and no bullet drop, well, you can put diamonds in a bucket of whale vomit, still a bucket of whale vomit. Unless you turn it into perfume for some reason, that makes it worth millions. Let's start with the semi-automatic aspects of this weapon because it's the easiest to explain. It's not bad, but it's still not great. Semi-auto snipers are something I see very little of on the battlefield, and for good reason. They're not particularly great in the first place. When you need something long range but semi-automatic, the first thing you should be reaching for is a scout rifle, because it just handles that sort of situation a lot better than a semi-automatic sniper does. And when you're beyond the ranges of a scout rifle, you probably should be grabbing yourself a bolt-action sniper. It leaves semi-automatic snipers in this role that's heavily overlapped by scout rifles and bolt-action rifles. And realistically, there's not many situations on the battlefield that a semi-automatic sniper is actually suited for. Does that mean they have no role at all? No, it's just that the times that a semi-automatic sniper would be appropriate is so far and few between that it's almost an irrelevant factor on this gun. I view the semi-auto fire on the Phaseshift as just another perk on a crappy bolt-action sniper. In fact, the semi-auto fire on this gun, although worse than all the other semi-auto rifles out there available to the VS, it's at least good enough to be competitive with their stats. In short though, the semi-automatic fire on the Phaseshift is just a nice little perk, but it's not going to get you too far. And next is finally for the bolt action aspects of this weapon. My god, it is really bad. In the original script for this video, I had a massive 700-word explanation as to why this is a bad bolt action sniper. Now, clearly, I had to condense it down into something much more interesting to listen to, so here are the abbreviated notes on why the bolt-action aspects of the Phaseshift suck. The first problem is the damage, with 550 being the maximum damage this weapon can push out. Killing someone with 2 body shots is just not gonna work 90% of the time. It cannot one-hit kill someone past 200 meters with a headshot, and this is an extremely crippling factor, especially on a sniper rifle. The charging mechanic is a massive pain in the ass. You can only hold a charge for about 2 seconds, and some of your hold breath time is lost to the charge. You have to uncloak to charge the weapon, which means you'll spend extra time exposed, and because of this you're likely to get picked off by other snipers more often than you would with other rifles. You can force a reload even though waiting for the gun to cool is almost faster in just about every scenario. You can reload the gun even with a sliver of the bar filled, and this is annoying as fuck. You're gonna miss out on a lot of easy kills because of the charge time. Adjusting your aim mid-charge is almost impossible when the target is moved. It's harder to hit moving targets because you have to time the charge time with the right moment to fire. But there are a few nice things I can say about the bolt action aspects of this weapon, like it works slightly better suppressed than other bolt action snipers. Although if you're at the right ranges, no one should be hearing you anyways. Snipers lose 50% of their velocity to a suppressor. Also, the damage drop-off gets pretty insane, and that's already a problem with the Phaseshift. So, I guess no tracers is the plus side here, I think. What else? You can fire 2 fully charged shots just a touch faster than the parallax could, and then be forced to reload. So it's got that going for it. Also, the gun model is fucking huge, and when you're running with it, it blocks half your screen and is the true console experience. So there's that. So that leaves us with 2 last things to talk about: the no bullet drop and unlimited ammunition aspect of this weapon. When it comes to no bullet drop on this sniper, I feel like it's sort of irrelevant. Compensating for bullet drop on the parallax and other bolt action snipers have never been a challenge for me at all. With just a little bit of experience with the same sniper, you'll come to the point where compensating for bullet drop is just second nature to you, and you won't even think about it twice. Clearly, skill is a big part of this being an appealing aspect of this gun, and I will gladly admit, my sniping skill is pretty mediocre, but dealing with bullet drop-off for me is extremely easy, and what I have a hard time with, and most other people do, is leading a moving target at range. Now, it's not very often I'm going to say something like this, and perhaps I'm maybe being a bit of an elitist prick right now, or a regular prick, that happens quite often as well, but seriously, just get better at sniping. There are loads of videos and tutorials out there and information to help you do this. I mean, Yimix, or Google Translate keeps telling me it's Limix, whatever, the Latvian guy, did a really good series on sniping, and I would recommend it to anyone that wants to learn how to get better at sniping in PlanetSide. Link to his channel in the description below. But my point is this: after getting a little bit of experience under your belt with any other bolt action sniper, you're gonna realize that compensating for bullet drop is really easy and unlocks a buttload more potential than the freaking Phaseshift has. I mean, the parallax can pretty much one-hit kill anyone you hit in the head, as where the Phaseshift can't. After getting experience with other bolt action snipers, you're gonna realize that not having any bullet drop is a pretty irrelevant factor, and in the long run, you're not gonna find it very helpful. Next is the unlimited ammunition, and I gotta be honest, I don't have a whole lot to say here. Most bolt action rifles start with 40 shots, 60 with a maxed out ammunition belt. The suit slot that I would argue is the most effective to have when you're sniping. You have to take, at a bare minimum, 40 shots before the unlimited ammunition is a relevant factor at all. On top of that, unlimited ammunition doesn't necessarily mean you can take pop shots at whatever targets you please, unlike the Beetlejuice would. It's something that only a bad sniper would do, and you're gonna get caught very quickly if you do this. Is it an advantage at times? Yes, it could be if you use it for long enough, but it wouldn't change the fact that the Phaseshift is still a pretty terrible gun. When I take a good hard look at the plus sides of the Phaseshift, I really feel like I'm watching a crappy infomercial for some shitty product that's supposed to fix all my problems, but realistically no normal human being has any of these problems. Hey, Look at this new egg cracking device. Doesn't it make cracking eggs so easy now? No, it doesn't, and I'll tell you why. Because I, just like 99% of the human population, don't have an epileptic fit every time a baby cries somewhere on planet Earth. Unlike the people you have depicted in this commercial. But perhaps I'm not giving the Phaseshift enough credit. I mean, it's still a bad gun, but it's at least interesting. If you're the type of player that's content with sitting up in the hills for hours at a time and maybe killing one person every 5 minutes, if you enjoy an extremely slow and super sneaky type of infiltrator, and you find that even though in the back of your head you know the Phaseshift is garbage, it kind of adds something to the overall experience of sniping like that for you, well then, go for it. Who am I to tell you how to enjoy your Planet Mans? But for the rest of us, it's not worth your time, and I'm sure as hell not going to Auraxium this gun. In fact, before I end this video, here's a quick list of the top 5 things I would rather do than Auraxium the Phaseshift. Number 5. Waste perfectly good alcohol. Number 4. Vote for Trump. Number 3. Have a row of penises that run down my back like a stegosaurus. Number 2. Burn my rel body pillow. And the number 1 thing I would rather do than Auraxium the Phaseshift is paint pictures of Muhammad eating pork while sitting in the middle of a Syrian village naked. Yeah, I went there. Anyways, guys, that's it for this time. My name's iGoRawr, and I'll see you all next time.
Is it? No, it's not.
Oh, I just got the same bug again. This time, at least it wasn't a
Them
floppy
Phoenixes
Phoenix.
are really freaking buggy.
At least it wasn't a floppy Phoenix.
Yeah, that is kind of worse. I mean, every 3 shots I get a bug of some sort.
Can you see this?
Yeah. Oh my god.
We found a bug.
That's so bad. Ow,
Oh
ow,
god.
ow.
Oh, it was Stubby again.
I thought that was you starting to hit me somehow.